BRICS expansion and what it means for Africa, especially Nigeria's economy. So the world's economic map is shifting again. BRICS, once 5 countries, is expanding to include Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the UAE, Ethiopia, and Iran. That means new financial alliances, new trading rules, and a new global balance of power. But here is the question: what does all this mean for Africa and for Nigeria's struggling economy? So let's unpack that on today's episode. Hi, I am Dr. Dide Adewale, and welcome to my channel where we explore how economics and international relations shape our world. I want to especially welcome all my new subscribers. We are very delighted to have you on board, and we trust that we will be having very interesting conversations and insights about the economy and the world around us. So back to business. Today we're looking at how the expanded BRICS bloc could reshape global trade, finance, and diplomacy, and how Nigeria might gain or lose in this new order. Okay, so let's look at the landscape. So BRICS, BRICS, began with Brazil, that's for the B, Russia, the R, India, the I, C, China, and the S, South Africa. And they were representing over 40% of the world's population and about 32% of global GDP. And in 2024 to 2025 now, the group has invited Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Egypt, Ethiopia, and Iran, signaling its ambition to become the voice of the global south. So, and what is the goal of all these promising countries coming together? And their goal is to reduce dependence on the US dollar, build an alternative payment systems, and also strengthen South to South trade. Okay, so that's a direct challenge, to Western dominated institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. Let me know if you think this is a welcome development. Right. So now Africa's strategic opportunity, how is this going to work for Africa? How is this going to play out? So you see, for Africa, BRICS expansion is both symbolic and practical. It shows that the emerging markets, not just the West, are shaping the global economy. Okay, so African countries like Ethiopia and Egypt now have a seat at that table, giving the continent a louder collective voice when it comes to economic matters and finance relating to their own country or their own economy. So the new development bank is the BRICS backed lender, and this has already issued over $30 billion in infrastructure loans, mostly in local currency. So that's a major alternative to Western credit lines that come with very high interest or political conditions. But the opportunity will only translate into results if African nations align their trade and financial systems to benefit from this new arrangement. So Nigeria's position in all of this, how will Nigerian position itself, to leverage? So Nigeria, first of all, isn't yet a BRICS member, but it's one of the most watched potential candidates with a GDP of roughly $477 billion and a population of over 220 million. So it's Africa's largest economy, obviously. But so what does the BRICS expansion, what will it mean for Nigeria? Let's take it one point at a time. I will start with trade diversification. So you see, China and India already buy 25% of Nigeria's crude oil exports. A stronger BRICS trade bloc could expand these ties beyond oil, and it could move gradually into manufacturing, fintech, and agriculture. The second point that I did like to point out is the reduced dollar dependence. So Nigeria's foreign exchange crisis has been severe, and the naira lost nearly 40% of its value in 2024. But BRICS push for local currency settlement could ease all this dollar pressure if Nigeria gains access to that payment network. The third point is financing for development. So you see, through the NDB, the New Development Bank, Nigeria could tap infrastructure loans without the IMF-style conditionalities. So for instance, South Africa's ESCOM received $1 billion for energy reform. Similar funding could support Nigeria's power or transport projects. Now to the geopolitical balance. So aligning more closely with BRICS might give Abuja leverage when negotiating with Western lenders, but it risks straining ties with Washington and the EU. So Nigeria's key aid and security partners is who these people are. So, if they start aligning to the BRICS, there might be some form of tension or straining in relationship. There's also the risks and the reality of all these countries coming together. So, however, joining or leaning towards the BRICS and this interesting new dynamics isn't going to be risk-free. The bloc is first of all very diverse with competing interests even amongst the BRICS nations like China, India, and Russia. So funding transparency and governance are obviously still developing. And a move away from the dollar also must be gradual because Nigeria's reserves are still largely in USD and euro-dominated assets. So Nigeria's priority, in my opinion, should be strengthening domestic productivity and fiscal discipline so that any new alliances would actually translate into good economic resilience. So what is the bigger picture? We don't talk about economics and international relations without looking at the global economy. What is the bigger pictures? So BRICS expansion marks the rise of a multipolar global economy where influence is no longer concentrated in Washington or Brussels, but now in Africa. And for Nigeria, this could mean new access to finance and trade, but also a new test of diplomacy. Okay, so the winners will be the nations that play smart because you will be tested on all grounds, economically, politically. So, the winners will be the nations that play smart, that know what they're doing, that are a step ahead and are ready for capacity-wise, and all of that. So, winners will be the nations that play smart, in summary, engaging both the East and the West while putting national interests first. So I would say the world is your oyster, Nigeria, and you can actually leverage the Western side of things and this BRICS, side of things. In summary, BRICS expansion isn't just about geopolitics, it's about economics, especially if Nigeria positions itself wisely, it could gain new markets, new credits, and new allies. But the real challenge is internal within the Nigerian government, within the Nigerian system, and the Nigerian institutions itself, how they will turn those opportunities into jobs, stability, and growth. So what do you think? Should Nigeria consider joining this BRICS or should it focus on fixing its economy before entering new alliances? So drop your thoughts below and don't forget to subscribe for more weekly insights into how economics and politics shape our world. I welcome all the viewers again, all the new subscribers, all the new family that I have during the course of these few days. We're grateful and excited to have you on board. See you very soon.